Here's the line here. Courts will not allow the owner of assets to evade creditors by placing the property in a trust while retaining the right to revoke the trust. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the lawsuit, civil lawsuit that was just awarded for in court for Donald Trump. And I'm going to talk about it in a way that probably most people are not going to be expecting. The decisions that are made here, this is court they're going through. Both parties have the right to, argue their side. But there's something in here that I think will help us resolve something uh, very well. It's going to get resolved over a short period of time. And it's something that's prevailing with a lot of these YouTube videos. And what that is about these trusts. Everybody states that if you want to, hide your money, you want to do all of these different things to, maybe put your assets into a trust. And if you do something wrong on the outside, they're not going to be able to go into that trust. Well, we're about to see. We are about to see. So this is the Supreme Court of the state of New York County. This is the people versus Donald Trump. And just so you know, there's a whole bunch of other people with his company. So like if this stands, a lot of you could just say that the company will be out of business. And then look at this. And I'm going to put the link here. So I'm not going to bore you with all of the information on here, even though you need to read it because it talks about how they misled the so-called banks, which the banks should be in trouble too. But we've talked about that with the credit system, with how you can, how I don't talk about it, but you see people on YouTube talking about how you can manipulate your paperwork and do things to be able to put yourself in a position to be able to get loans. Well, you could say that what happened on this one was manipulation on steroids. And I heard an analogy that someone gave about this, and they said this was I think it was David K. Johnson. This was the analogy that he gave. He said that think about it this way: if your business closed, so say for instance you own a business, and one of your employees after it closed went into the register and got $100 without your permission. They just took $100. And then they went to the horse track or to the casino, let's say casino, and they won $200. And then so the next day they came back and they put $100 back in there. You were not harmed, even though they took the money and they put it back in there. You were not harmed. Would you be okay with that? Would you be okay with that? That's what this whole thing comes down to. And what the court prosecuting district attorneys are saying is that the banks are lucky that it worked out because in all other situations it maybe wouldn't work out. And that's why they want people to be truthful on the documents that they're giving the banks, because when it doesn't work out, that's where there's issues, because then everybody's complaining about the banks. Now, my complaint is that the banks should have did their due diligence, but that doesn't escape people from putting fraudulent information uh, on the applications. And some people are saying, well, Donald Trump didn't sign it. Yes, he did. Just so you know, he did sign them. All the loans and everything that was done, the banks, I can tell you, I can't tell you for sure, but from what they're saying in this is that the banks would not have gave the loans if he didn't sign for them. That was, that wasn't going to happen. So, but what I want to talk about in this is to get to this part about the trust, because I'm going to show you something that maybe other people who talk about uh, trying to hide in trust, that nothing would be able to get taken. And I've always stated that if you hide stuff in a trust that was illegally gotten gains, they will be able to go into that trust. But there's going to be a test on that, because here we go right here. Defendants argue that Donald John Trump, I think, revocable trust is not bound by the tolling agreement falls flat. In his deposition, Donald Trump affirms under oath that the assets of the Trump organization are held in DJT Revocable Trust, for which he is the sole donor and beneficiary. Donald Trump also affirms that at the time the trust was formed, he was a sole trustee and remains a sole trustee until 2017, when defendants Alan Weisselberg and Donald Trump Jr. became the sole trustees. So this is going to be that test, because what they're saying is that they're going to be able to go into there to get whatever cannot be paid, whatever assets have to be sold, that they're going to be able to go into that trust and they're going to be able to get assets out of that trust and sell them to make these banks whole. Even though the bank, now here's the crazy thing about it, is that, like I said earlier, the banks are not, these loans did not go bad. What they're claiming is that on one side, he pumped up the value of the assets to get loans, but then on the other side, he devalued the assets to pay less in taxes, to pay less insurance, to get whatever benefits for saying that the value of something was less. There was also a situation where he said that his uh, penthouse in Trump Tower was 20,000 square feet when it was actually 10,000 square feet. But see, my whole problem with that is that if he's saying that it's 20,000 square feet, why isn't someone looking at minimum at the excuse me, at looking at the layout of the property? Even if they don't want to go and do a site visit, they can look at the layout of the permit to know that it's not 20,000 square feet. And another thing that I got from this, I mean, that really, that if you read it, that you might see, and I mean, I guess people are just professionals at doing this, is that just getting loans after loans after loans after loans after loans. Uh, if Donald Trump if Dave Ramsey is a fan of Donald Trump, I think after he reads this, he would say, why are you getting so many loans when you don't, when you're supposedly have billions of dollars? Like, why would you continue to get loans and loans and loans and then turn around to devalue so you don't have to pay the taxes and the insurance on that property that you got? So, but my whole point, I mean, y'all can debate all that other stuff. Y'all can debate all of this other stuff here. For the purposes of this video, is I want to see, will this trust hold up? Will this trust hold up? Because that's going to be one of the biggest answers that we've probably asked for, that is going to either prove that the trust cannot be touched or the trust can be touched. And my bet is that the trust will be able to be tapped, because they're going to show that the benefits of the person who the trust is protecting, which is the family and the assets, were accumulated under fraudulent pretenses. That's just what they're going to say. And I believe that that's exactly what's going to happen. And maybe I'll be wrong, but I think that this is exactly what's going to happen, because what they've done is they put all of this information in here showing how, like a paper trail of how they were inflating and deflating assets, and then he was signing for it. He was actually signing for it. Like, that's the thing, is like a lot of people are thinking that all of this stuff was being done without his knowledge. This stuff here was being done with his knowledge 100%. And I think that probably what could end up happening from this is that this is going to be one of those American greed type stories where they show a not a Ponzi scheme where you get individuals to invest. It'll be a Ponzi scheme of where you get banks to give money, and then you got to go out and find another bank to pay off the loan and start all over again. And then you do it again, and you do it again and again and again. But here's the problem with that, is that it keeps going up and up and up. It keeps increasing. It doesn't go down. Like uh, in these types of deals where I've seen them on American Greed, or I've seen them where other people have kind of done something similar with this, is where you get a loan and then they go get another loan to pay off that loan. But the problem is that the barely any of the money was paid off on their original loan, because they were using the loan to for their own personal expenses and to pay down other debt. So the next loan is going to be to pay off that plus more. So that's why you have to inflate. You have to inflate the value, and then you have to pay off the other loan that you had a lesser value for. And then you have to do that over and over and over again. So at some point, this has to stop. And I think when it comes down to it, from what I'm reading in this court action, is that in a sense they're saying that if we don't stop this, even though the banks, and I think that they need to go and talk to these banks, and these banks need to be held accountable too, because they wouldn't let other individuals be able to do something like this, is that they are saying if we don't stop this, this is going to be a multi-billion-dollar default. Is that's what's potentially, uh, potentially could happen with this. All right, I just wanted to make you aware of this, and again, opinions are opinions, and people can make their own opinions by reading, like just reading what was the facts of the case. That's the best way to do it. I don't want to throw my opinion in on this other than what I've already said, but mainly my whole the whole reason to make this video is about, this is an excellent example to see if this trust stuff that everybody keeps talking about is going to hold up. That's going to be like huge, to get a huge answer with this. I don't know how quick we'll get the answer, but it's going to be a huge answer, because if assets start to be sold, if bankruptcies start to happen, and the trust is broke, the trust is what, I don't know what they call it, unveiled or whatever, I don't know, maybe someone will give me the word for it. But if the trust is able to be, uh, assets are able to be taken out of the trust to pay other debts, that's going to blow a big hole in that trust type deal. Now, not to say that trusts are not good, because you should have a trust. We're actually have a trust for my assets, me and my wife. But you can't do a trust and build the assets on that trust uh, based off of activity that might be considered, where they would say that it was done with loans where the applications were not truthful. All right. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my two-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website the3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitation letter, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. I do ask for donation on those, but you don't have to do it. But I do appreciate it. It helps me monetize my time to make you these videos. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.